This week, the channel's asked students, what was your worst job experience?
I had to wax some rich guy's jet skis, and then it got so windy that one of them blew into the street. Well, I had to text him. I had to send him a text, and I sent him a photo, and I was like, "Hey, they're in the street," or one of them's in the street, and he was like, "Charlie, what did you do?" And then he drove home, and then he was just clearly so angry. But what was he gonna do? He just helped me put it back up on the stand, and then I left.
There's this woman. She's been in before, and she's always. It was the first encounter that I had with her, and she complained. I was making her a sandwich, and she complained that there wasn't enough cheese on it, and she just started getting really mad.
I used to work at Beachhead Deli, and one time we were in the middle of a rush, and I was carrying 2 pint glasses, and I slipped on. There was pesto on the floor, and I slipped on it, and I threw the pint glasses up, and they shattered everywhere.
But then she came in again just a few weeks ago, and I charged her for a sandwich, and then again she was getting so mad. I'm like, okay, I'm like, bro, this is just a deli, it's not that big of a deal. And I was trying to be as nice as possible, but I was like, well, what do you want me to do?
My worst job experience was actually this last week when I was scheduled to open at my job at 5 a.m. The next day I was scheduled to close, so 2 to 10 p.m. And then the next day I had to be in there at 6 a.m. So that was less than 8 hours between when I got off and when I was supposed to be there again. And in that time I had to drive home and go to sleep and wake up and get ready for bed. That was my worst job experience, and it was a miserable 3 days in a row, and I got no sleep.
I did samples in Costco back in 2018, right after high school. And as a job, it's not the worst. I mean, it's 6-hour shifts every day, which is pretty nice. But the problem is you just kind of have to stand there. It's not that the job was horrible, it's that people are actual monsters when it comes to Costco samples.
And by the second, third day, I was just so exhausted. I felt like I wasn't enjoying my job as much as I usually do, and wasn't really giving it my all because I just wasn't rested enough.
To be honest, I've never actually had a really bad job experience. I work in a bookstore, and it's kind of amazing. It's called Bart's Books. It's in Ojai. I live in Ojai, so it's an entirely outdoor bookstore. Really beautiful.
I once watched 2 60-year-old women get into a fist fight, over unicorn popcorn.
I would never work in the food industry or a grocery store. I just know that I would not be good at it. For one, I cannot hold a plate of dishes. I would break. I'm too clumsy.
My manager came, and she was laughing at me, and then there was also a whole line out the door, and they were laughing at me.
How did that make you feel?
I thought it was funny.
You thought it was funny as well?
Yeah.
Did you feel embarrassed?
No.
And there's nothing, not just because they wanted the last bag or something. No. Samples, which, by the way, before they had started fighting, I had already put out more samples.
My worst job experience is working at Blenders. Overall, the job wasn't that bad, but the environment was super negative and really hard to get comfortable in.
So there was only one on the tray, someone grabbed it, and that was the other person said it was theirs because they saw it first. And I'm like, oh, don't worry, here's another sample. And they're like, no, I want that one. Anyway, 2 60-year-old women screaming, hair pulling, and clawing at each other, fighting. Yeah.
It wasn't really welcoming. Everyone would just kind of do their own thing. No one really talked to each other, so going to work wasn't really exciting. It was just kind of boring. Nothing really to look forward to.
I have my other horrible job I could explain.
Go for it, yeah.